fale nyamen bi na lundam bunyari mba kota mo mendi wala mu honorable Yahya Menteng Sanyang manke lundandi moy Gambia politiko kono aketa moti me alon ko député wala mati banko député bu ngota be siri moto la kunda sabiji toyala aketa moti me alon ko UDP di wala mati num fo nyin kartam bilan kono and aketa moti fana me alon ko akadia mu Gambia politiko ko wala bake lafta bi natale naka kachake ala silol ala simfa menuta politiko kono kadunam politiko kono ko men alon ko le sorata député bu ngoto UDP la karola kana fo fan lafta fanan ka jibe ke Jammeh la nyinna ko fanana wakera modi malon kudi malon ko ako sembo ni ngadi amo sembo warali mbaki Gambia banko kam ta fanan tajidinte fanan lata kanne president ko Jammeh la maralo koto ngo do man ngo kalamtale nun be lafla fanan ka long ala miro momenti wo karola honorable Yahya mba fele ko contentan sewota keso de jam e semol konton dro kola ngana dum kacha kono bismillah.
Okay, Nfally, thank you very much. Nge konto nga Ibrahim konto sa ndol fa mu kebal ban full of ages. Mentingo mu Ibrahim ta dino mu de sa. Sa ndol fa mu kebal sa.
Yo fa nyaawnya.
Anyway nga konto nga tendu nga jay bake. Allah nyim programme is very insightful. Kamolu kalamutandi banko la kujamala kan kalamutandi banko la economy la akamol parliamentary banko la political la akamol parliamentary banko la ko bela so ngal flante do ngal jayba ngam moment sandem flante do ngal jayba ke ala contribution was very
abaraka bake honorable nkondanda ngeso ko nga fa nyame Gambia politico bitilo ela ko man ko njama mabo you know farman sa daje bake e katara diamula e boka sila fanan kela miro fanan yitandi ko lamen be ke kam banko kan député bu ngoda ni fanna ko don la fa ke nyini ngamenna laftale nga muru ko madamandi nga jibe ko datite te nyamena laftale safa mole itela dindi ya ko be nu nyamen ila kulo karola yemun kusi falle taki meya tna imu mendi bi keta wati politiciano iketa kantioti yedo ko fananke banko e isa dati mole afmo ila dindi ya be nyaadi la anim fanan kuloro ni you know ku ko wala karola yemun sim falle ta meya tna fo fudara bitilo be nyintilo tembo momento
na dindiya mo jare do mandi wala ne na dindi tar kuina jama ka fanye faso in mandinga means muscle means you are strong. Okay, the name Yahya Menteng that one is little bit controversial dolko ndinema ni enki Menteng sangola ning comme in those days ni be kilometer sa kala maladila malam fatu le remember ba to mu dinne wala you know ida mental location so dol ko ni adinta don boga kalma kenson futandina ida ngafo a jolenta mbulle so dol ko ntoma mu wolka mental senok bari ala mo ni be tola la ida malo who was your namesake because ntama namesake mate ballooning. So these are the two different school of thoughts with regards to that. So Dindima was very rough. Mfamanu ate kodo bate bulo kono actually. But Janin Tolbe Keba la domain that business on that collapse. So like any other ordinary person in the village. Ngana karawonke Kuinala primary school. So, being a Karonga Queen Primary School, I started to common entrance in those days. So I was the first person na school door.
Yeah. Bari olu akamta komfota honorable Menteng nale kachabe diakang savale turon ko alim bitilo lemu 106.1 FM aton membe la maka radio to aton membe jibe kan internet to nim bitilo le bejan ni Ibrahima Sonko le bejan nga wati dantan diala nga jibe fabe kafuno la male ko nga fa nyamen binni honorable Yahya Menteng le bejan kana ka kajake politiko ko wala ala dungo politiko kono ala wato député ngoto ala taro UDP kono anim fanan ku ko tamon men be kekan bitilo la ku mandara kele Gambia men sembo warata ko e mol sula men tambita president ko to Jammeh kan kularo men ko ala fana la Gambia banko kan la fa ko nyon ku sifadel kacha bitilo la Ibrahima Akam to ko finance mol jansa demanding. Honorable,
Yes,
yeah, ha.
my
Ibe
network
man
collapsed,
kacha
right?
kan wala mu ila karam ko di kuine la kono.
So during number kunala saya, I'm already at Latikunda Junior School. So during futata auto, ko nga fa nyame, na background number one, man suru akumo moy in those days. Ndungari las franco nimmendi be grade 7, most of them they were friends before they come to school. So during break time, when the man like a move, so the most move because of a lack of friend and language barrier. So nadata na elda broda fafa, former minister for petroleum. So ngai ko ntenya kandi dumo be nyato, you know. So nada na village ko dum ko sla beje. So bidin tada village dumo ko sla ko I'm not going back.
Iporta.
So after nada explain fafa the reason and nada understand. So in those days, achieving your education in the provinces was not going to be of quality. One thing that insist that we are the first batch of Quinala Junior Secondary School. Somboro nata ta Botro, where ngan high school kadamento Ibrahim Songola Pinkima, Ankaranta Bulokon. Mboro nata Gambia College, nga hektisike Gambia College. Then I taught in few junior and secondary schools in the country. So another scholarship was in 2008, another at Taiwan where I studied civil engineering. I came back, worked with the Ministry of Education, worked World Bank consultant, then the IEFAD, then another at OIC, Faldi, you were there. Then political, it was not my intention at all. Yeah, but ning ala you can't do anything about that. But I remember after 2016 election, 2017 National Assembly election. I remember the late Tumbul Kian Central chairman. They came to my house. Ikonyoko laftala yelo dipite yala. Nko yuko dipite ya kuno mansia. Ndube mbenna korda lola skenti na bando. So nata fo ko ndoma be lola le fafa o lafita le fafa sanya ki those days man fo Ibrahim won talon ko nalbo ma ko ndola inara fo nyako ni ta fambe lola mbete supo le bare do ma no ba nyina sa ba nyina ko mo ba nyina nyame wonni Bakar Camara nata lo so Bakar Camara nata win actually ko at lo tan no allo anim Bakar Camara competition ka UDP level Bakar Camara nata win on nata win on the UDP ticket. So then I local OIC, want to be OIC. I was stubborn, fairly was this politics. Mom political kono UDP political mom mabuno for I was recorded. Yes, I'm office of the president. CEO and commandant office several time about that audio. So man nang no political and barely attend for they got a lot of evidence against me. So not I resigned from OIC. So when I resigned the OIC, the first person that was the time Mufta Lamin Nakorda kono. So Keba Kinte came to my house. Akonyoko bugon na Keba terol mata akonyoko silan dipte yakana it sound jan say mal be kenyal ibe kala nyadir ngai ko doke bare ngai de dipte nimba nyina mba nyina kiyanne nguluta wolto ani lati kunda an sita dame ngai balla men jan sande sound tan jan ni ko be dipte nyina jan ske non tina sulo ko numol mandale. So the following week faji kuna mol fala na baba jabi kansulu anala mol ikonyoko dipte asida say malo fo iselo no bambo ko lafta itele lo 2017 I was approached. The same month I was approached 2 times by 2 different constituencies. And not for Baba Oleko. It's not a problem because Medoko OIC the dam inside. That place is not secure. If my contract expires by April, it I renew. I think
Abaraka honorable Kaya
so not a family consultation, okay?
Yeah.
Hello?
Lafta fala tronko comme honorable ya fanyame nga doko ke nyokande nun OIC
Network
nga
is
nyotara
bad.
jele bebe no nyokanje amonu mola abenu mola project office. Bari Ibrahima, I know you have questions regarding ala National Assembly watu because watu man taran bulu koteke. Bari lafa ke nyininka menna dorom nin se sabano koma domandi nge nyininka ini UDP nyo soto nyadila. How did you come to join UDP? Ani mune atinna patiol men bebe Gambia UDP tombo.
No, UDP, to be honest with you, UDP be formula some and be 12 years old. Ngamba man informata UDP, to be honest with you. So, fun to grow takono. So, one and kakmola what nga UDP nga keta na alpha level kono. So, it's not about my choosing, but it's like it's my inheritance. Nga alpha letra kono, ye do koke, pati foitol fate itolmang pati little ganyan dino. So it's not about choose level. It's just my inheritance, and I'm very proud of my inheritance. UDP is my inheritance. I will say that on and on.
Okay. Was your dad a politician? If I'm a politician in the bank? Ibrahim?
Yeah. Abe ni ka kan fo balaji mu politician ol bang almane man ka faro kala.
My dad was not a politician actually. Among a politician, he was just a supporter, but among a politician. My mom equally was not a politician. He was
okay.
No, among a politician.
Okay, all right.
He was not a politician. He was just a supporter.
Okay.
An ordinary supporter, for that matter.
Okay.
But very emotionally attached to the party.
Right.
Akamta ela internet obe slow kan da wonen kele but ndebe moy kan ne fali ba moy kan ne.
Yes, mba moy kan ha.
So mbe fe ni ka min na fana ya ngalo non ela dinne wato fana anin kabri kata kuinala middle school yeb kuma kilim fana to ko wando ngamoy ne ko mo borla baltu num fana. So you were a big athlete.
Yes. I was a very good runner actually because what on Nimboro keta Queen
you know, but in Kumba, la fani ni kala because ngal falita fana more imoto kala mutano. You come borla balti num fana. Kabra bida ka school num. So I often kala num. So yeah, amu kube ya already. But sign sita ala National Assembly. Yeah, I come all Yeah.
Yes, nga poro ke wato borla bal munti to answer your question. Wato nimboro ke primary school, Queen primary school independence wato school membe be Ken Central beka ida marina angale Queen la sibito. So 100 meters was a sprinter. Mtaka Ken Central be da wato 100 meters. Ninta summer we go and do some kids in summer falan telka LRL be dank summer so ngata farafenye so nimbo farafenye ngana la bang stadium so stadium or sometimes I took second sometimes I took start stadium or nam first out actually because that's the entire country but my best result I can remember was second.
Wow, okay,
thank you.
Well, so alanada iharje ita National Assembly you know kachal nada ke molia jiko be la kuotole andim fana latu kunda fana because ngal information so jele information da jele fana alata kola so ina ata National Assembly kabita National Assembly UDP toyala mune mu kuflati mi yalan kiti safo ko nyina mun tela kuti mi yalan ko fana na kontan dalo woti na do ko le nyin kamala National Assembly kake parliamentarian odi Gambian National Assembly so far kabi sita je fobi munon kuflati mi yalan ko safo ko ha nyinde ndefana me kontan na nyina baba kele anim fana overall ebe mun follow about National Assembly teni milbed la killing well sangal ko ni wal mandal nyokan no so se continue but science sa fo moleko muna mu kufla de mi yalon ko kabita ta National Assembly wode ifana contenta wala ba ko la do ko wala wode.
Yes when I entered the National Assembly work is a different thing. It's a very, very different area. When I entered the National Assembly, first I was lucky to be the first National Assembly member, first time committee, you become a chairperson for two committees. I was chairperson for subsidiary legislation, and also I was a chairperson for government projects monitoring and implementation because of my background. But lately, if you can remember, I resigned as chairperson for subsidiary legislation because National Assembly members don't want to take that committee very seriously because this committee is powerful in such a way that we can scrutinize all subsidiary legislation legislated by the government, we must compel government to bring all the rules and regulations they form at their level. Because we empower them to do so. But what we don't do is to tell them to bring it back to us for further scrutiny. So, I prepared, first, I wanted to prepare a private member bill. But a private member bill in those days, as UDP National Assembly member, NPP Malta accept. So I talked to my committee, we made it a committee bill. So when I presented that committee bill before the National Assembly, it collapsed at foresight. I'm not proceed now because NPP National Assembly members don't want it to, they don't want us to scrutinize their government subsidiary legislation. So Biru Wakaranda Falan Kamfara, and it's not about committee allowance, it's not about committee privilege as chairperson, but it's about integrity. So not I resign as head of that committee. Since I resigned as head of that committee, in a meeting clean function and sign. It's like that committee is just in our committee books, but our mantra function can well. My most important achievements is like I was able to draw few private member bills, even though Imam passed in the National Assembly because of how do I call it, this partisan tricks and governance. NPP National Assembly members, my first private member bill was give councillors member in the local council, nominated councillors to give them right to vote. Because if you look at the National Assembly and nominated members nominated by the president, worker rights to vote. So I feel like we have to make laws uniform in the country. So I wanted to extend the same privilege to the nominated councillors in local government administration, but unfortunately, how do I call it? NPP National Assembly members. Manso. My most important achievement also is to look at the Banjul project, because before I became a National Assembly member, there were a lot of speculations about the Banjul project, Banjul rehabilitation project. So my background as engineer, I was able to request most of the documentations about the project, and after reviewing the project, myself and my committee, we are able to do quite a lot of adjustments as far as the project is concerned. So these are some of my few achievements I register as an opposition National Assembly member, because it's not going to be easy as an opposition National Assembly member. And one thing critical about the whole National Assembly function, you can spoken, do anything. But moment buka dia National Assembly nimpulu wato sida ala italo dia moye membeke is equal to wolo single bulundo I mean National Assembly. So that makes the work very, very difficult. Majority is very, very important in the National Assembly. Ndoloko dia mo membeke ni aje mboka kudite no National Assembly because ndoloko dia mo wego banim bulundo wato sida do mo memboka dia mo bulundo is equal to ndolo dia mo. So that makes National Assembly works very, very, very difficult. Ibrahim Nfally.
Keba ma baraka bake lafake nyinin kanu wala fa la drong maybe kupula yemuna lonnum wara ijikita muna lonnum National Assembly yema mellon yemellon sign
the network I don't know.
Yeah, I can follow you.
Honorable. Okay, ma kamta ko internet o be jaran kaya ke kane tol men bella may kan drong al nim Bitilo lemu tol men bella may ka redito 106.1 FM lem vibes FM men felendi manja kunda sade kono tol men fanam ben jibe kan dulal to internet al nim Bitilo ning honorable Yahya Menteng Sanyang na be jang honorable malum koy kam moy la bang laf ni kam moy imbe nyin nga kan men e kam moy la bang okay, so ngabrambe menkela wala mum be honorable murundla nan kota kele ay nanan bari comme mbako Ibrahima kachabita ku kanne I think that's something that is really interesting aka même for about the National Assembly, the fact that majority counts isinano le diamo yekumo befo bari nintata carte fayola karola menu siata jama ko kadiki wala la karola wala nanum fa wala faka nyininka atela miro to munemu ala miroti in terms of National Assembly ga tamanya a jikita num munela nin sa munelong National Assembly la kodo honorable thank you very much indeed network ko mandra penkari mba fole fana ni atre say la mobile okay no do not disturb isaje ni moli e call ate e call fana kundula that can also
yes
help.
I put it on not a no disturb
Okay.
so I think it's a network
So
yeah what was the question
la fake nyinin kanu menna wala mu la fake nyinin kala nun ka foy ko yem ijikita num munela imam mellon ni député bu ngoto yemellon sign in terms of your expectation versus silang sai me sanjilu ke je mu ne karangi ni so fo moli follow la flanja mo mela fla fana isa fo moli mol be je men yalon ko e ka kamola député bu ngola ko ninkumu e to lude ninkumu isa fo ko nafatela basically because ila do ko mo mendi wole mu pour ka kaje ko kondi boro si soto Gambia kalo kaje ko de mansakunda se kondi boy baro la nanyum fensifa ko rawon bar mo jamal be je e jikla tela député bu ngola do ko wala mala tela jabiro be kala monedi o kufulol
comme the honorable freestyle ko denk but im fali omo nyinin kal kuma babaldi because ni na do fanan jiwe kacha jamala bi je especially tolfon kabina tan molbe kuma do folo ka fuko yela saradil ta ila ku folo minke tolfon la joro yoleta yola fa folo molbe bata be lari modol kan because I think okuma ta pro honorable fane yo je senandi molma because ni alje molbo kuma sifa folo bo constant sifa folo itolla miralo mu nyam ila miralo mindi akumata ndol fana ngo faham daman ninke saje at the end of the day molia because national assembly la doko kumata baba ke la Gambia ko because doko kende baba doko manke loi de da damati but also ka kesiro ke aninka konti boro ke ku jamal to mi yalon ko abe dendim bankola na fulo la dendim bankola security la dendim bankola ko kuda national assembly tol kumata baba ba ke bankola nyato tanin kono so I think nyinin kar kende baba
yeah so ngamela be mengela Ibrahima nsa try nga jibe fo mba call no le nga soro line auto maybe you finance ke fendi me alon ko abe sone ala that can help with the communication Gambia internet ko le mbari yalo fanan be samala fanan kono Gambia so sama kono fanan cool ka ko le ala je internet la karola but wajanya nyama drong ben kado dam be kelale ka jibe whether we can have him on the line nga sort of direct jibe atmando baro finance call Sony and the demanding but try and the number mantra sort of gang. But like I said, the papers in the Gambia are very interesting today. Jembela na ko be sembo wararine. I don't know what your take is on that, Ibrahima. It will be interesting how long it'll miro because ngajele one of the deputy men botanan Foni, I think Foni bintang karanala deputy olem. No Foni jaro la deputy me ko keba tuwanding sane ata dunko abe yamarlo kela bara abe dandalaro fanan kela man sakundala pour ikana fo ibe president Jammeh arrest le Banjul International Airport ko ni wo kabe kela o man kor la ka fitno wuli ni Gambia banko kan mare dala miro minute wodo. What do you think about that?
I mean, Fali, couldn't done the wrong. Jambela Kobe Nyame is a coning Nisa Isafono to our call is very delicate. Omukula de Mia Hakil Tuolum, and in the Tamala Hakil Tuol Fanankon, and in the Tamala Nyala Mialonko, Mansakunda Nyanta, Ataman la Silla Mialonko, follow, Mol Mialonko, Oleka Moleko, victimol, a batata, a Jamela in de Manal. Aning kujama jama tamandi je mi yalan ko etol mantora etol nyanda ko fola je wal mente murunda nanne
yeah, thank you very much mbaringolu atol membe lamoy kan ning honorable Yahya Menteng be kachala même mu député wati membe sirin député bi ngodo latil kunda sabji to yala mais ko ya solo kan internet la bari kontandan se woto nga honorable sota murta kafutam ma jang koteke honorable mbeme nyinin ka kan nun la fake nyinin ka nu menna wala munun ye ko menu long député do ko wala ko sa yama men lon nu jeja ne be duna député bu ngodo bari ning atara wato de do kambado sila mbela flale nga tendeng nga jibe ke tumiro la mol ga menu la député bu ngokan ko ñunu ninku mu nafatel kadum ila do ko mendi wala mu ka je ko de executive ning president wala cabinet minister se konti boy barola na fulo la karola nin kuko tamol bari jamal be je jikela teta dibito la karola ba ke do ko la wo karola ita jabiro munati won.
Yeah, Nfally, you're right. They can follow social media mostly and can follow what we have a very weak National Assembly. That's the fact. Manta Kalalam Fana, Onga Kangola National Assembly. We have very strong individual National Assembly members. Was collectively, we have a very, very weak National Assembly. The National Assembly is weak. It's weak because partisan tricks and governance were in our operations. Be at committee caucus, committee meeting, minority caucus meeting, majority caucus meeting, finally in the flow of the National Assembly, voting patterns is a very, very weak National Assembly. What more tell the National Assembly be, you may get individual competence here and there, but collectively we are a very weak National Assembly. Because Mbukan no convinced no to do something better. Do you understand? Before the National Assembly, everybody is covered with partisan interests. Mobuka Ajenoko, this is what is good for the country. We're back in the National Assembly. So to answer your question, we have a very, very weak National Assembly.
And then lafa ke to follow up on that. Modolu fananka foko National Assembly fananyaje ila doko ibuka ke no kanyanta kele nyame. One of the reasons also is the fact that executive ke compromise no nyame wole mu ke dundi idul fanan na nyin kolu kono mol ka siko sodo mendo misal fe mol ka menta ka ketama sedo wole mu motol di mendalo ko wole sika ya dialla ngabra moto nyin million jamala dunta kuna wato do beje man sakunda fanan kasi misadi ngaje komando fana yalla sarari ta ya la fa jawke. So do look at for beyond the numbers and in the partisan politics. Atolu National Assembly bele for modi. Yatol bele compromise. Kala sari lafa kamodol dia la ka kol ke isaje al setara tenkundingal nodo isaje al nyanda ka doko menge kamansa kunda kontibo ke londi baro la ke londi silo kan alta kenola mune mu la jabiroti what.
First, Najabro is wrong. You see, National Assembly, Nfally, is a very powerful institution. Fenfen lafata, nyimban koka, ntolaba lafala. Fenfen dita, ntolaba dila. Do you understand? Fenfen dila executive la, ntolaba dila executive la. So executive tomorrow dino lantola. Executive cannot increase our salary. We do everything. Men call for, they don't understand the Iman National Assembly role. Understand. If you understand the role of National Assembly, executive tend to compromise. Nola. Do you understand? Executive cannot give us cash. We have to allocate cash to ourselves and allocate cash to the executive. We have to in salary lafa na executive salary, but executive tend salary lafa nola. Omuntola mandate. Do you understand? Yes, sometimes there can be some executive influence where individual National Assembly members, they may have their separate relationship with.
Yeah, he was making a very good point. But is basically for her at the end of the day, it will ka si banko de panso kola. But banko de panso ko ka bo menubulu wolel fana mu national executive nyeti kodi. So wolel kana yala it will koto to be able to discuss it. So I was interested in lafta la kalo wo process woni ani wo ini wol temo kata nyameng wo karola ka nyola ko ngani kono tama nyameng kaje ko foi futa wo karola. So that's something that I really wanted to have his take on Kacha with him. But Ibrahima, Gambia Internet is
I'm going for it. Gambia interview so I say young for more.
Finally, I want to suggest, can we have this interview next week so that when I'm at the office, please?
Okay, so I think I have better in the demand. Malum for finit and menke, wale at better in the bank. Nko nsa
So,
try no
lemon.
kote ke ngajibe ni nga tara akunduta ko ya fanya we can try another nse wadi kote try nga ujibe but
yes.
we can try sign maybe because I be better to think be better in jela be senior in
Abe better na.
ha
Okay, left out establish la. Executive National Assembly members, yes, I cannot disagree ko executive buka more influence. I cannot disagree to that because to mamulo. But when it come in that my privileges, into set for ourselves. Into so dino to ourselves, not the executive. But that's why the budget is before us. So the cars, the salary increment, omuntola prerogative. That's the executive man kunor. You understand? So executive cannot tell national assembly members necessarily la fala to induce us. No. Don't want to mandate. These cars they were allocated in the last legislature, even though I was not in Tamantara Nunge, but wala ni moto ko in discourse agree. Executive has no mandate, but only to execute whatever the National Assembly members tell them to do so. So that's it. Completely.
Bari alon dipite olu sela fino kukilina. Bari hani dipite olu lafta munela kodo nyinga kabon dipite kabuman sakundale bul. Is the executive that kind of do the allocation? Adol sela fi nyama. Idolel koke. Sai mbole la alika kulu ngani kono tamano nyame. Wadu no lika fali ne kombinale ngani ngale nyindo tu mole bang.
No. Well, I don't know. Let me not say no. It's possible before you come and give me evidence here, which I cannot refute. But one thing I know is executive intentional influence nola to give us things kafanyako A, B, and C. Konga fanya mfali, and I insist. Ntola ka cool executive, ntola be cool color in the budget, and the government must execute that budget. They cannot even tell us they don't have the money. Trust me. They cannot. But I agree with you. Sometimes you never know. We are politicians. People have different relationships with ministers, with permanent secretary, with directors. I don't know what make a transpire tema. But as far as the cash and salary increment is concerned, to be honest with you, National Assembly members, the less fund salary lafano, the less motor din fund, not the executive. Trust me.
Okay, Menteng, better kill a video GB science and National Assembly because konga fo nyame dun the National Assembly United Democratic Party toyala bari nga jele recently fanan resignation letter finding la ko bota party nying konal andum bi video a video nying is very funny but it's very emotional too because nga jele National Assembly mo bebe bale be blola le kan be escort la ke bodde la GDP sidulato ke samba independence sidulato munekata
it's very emotional and since I resigned from the national, I'm kind of more and I like that. But the only emotional part is leaving my seat. I'm so used to leaving my colleagues. I'm so used to go and sit in the independent corner. Blah blah. So what happened today when I went to the National Assembly? My honorable candidate in the floor in the chambers. Yenna tako danga ko today because na tak manyatra UDP la caucus. So I was very, very disappointed. Why will it be there after notifying the office of the clerk about my resignation from UDP? So after being clerk duntanang, it was very late. Clerk konyako is our error. Why is independently because he resigned from the party? Very emotional. To be honest with you, I said this with emotion, you know. No, it's our error. But we're going to rectify it. So now what happened? Honorable, I think one just raised an order. Don't understand? An order when you resign from a party, you should not sit in that party caucus. And National Assembly will go by the order. That supersedes whatever we do. That is why the clerk of the National Assembly, presiding sitting guy, directed that I should be moved to the independent corner. But the office of the clerk was notified about my resignation. I personally notified them. And in this morning, because my tax should be behind you. It's a get up sometime. Fair cover. So bring that flow is still at the UDP corner. I know this is wrong. I notified the clerk, but whether it was already there, it's our error, but we're going to rectify it. So what supersedes everything is our standing orders. So being senior rest, the speaker has no choice but to direct.
So munatina ngalon ne UDP ye kilomike UDP So much so that ngala ne ko kabin election of banda 2016 Jammeh NIA official na de office ko no le fo ini nyo sabo soto fo la fake arrest yela moto ta yela moto muta fo lo kun jama be larinje so inata nyum pati kilo min ke kilo mbe ke nyum pati inata iko resign ta nyum pati ko ne bota je I joined UMC and ya fole ko itelo mo idabe mo folo ko mi yalon ko nyum pati la cool wala nying movement kuto nyim yalon ka lota tengu Talib Bensouda itelbe lora ko ma ko jama be je tele yake so munekata munat ne ite bota United Democratic Party e manta dula do fananto fo ilata Talib Ahmed Bensouda ka nala movement on.
No, Malla Talib Ahmed Bensouda, we formed the movement. You see, this is I want people to be very careful. We want this party to be very different from any other political organization. Moment la mokang, we come together. Yes, I agree with you. Revolution is a thought in one man's mind. That is true. This was a revolution in the mind of Talib Bensouda. I agree with that. But we come together, integrate our brain cells and ideas to progress. So I don't want people to say, Ilata Talib Kang. Moment like Talib Kang, more like Kaftan Kang, they form this movement. We don't want this movement or this party to be like any other political organization, built around an individual. Media commentators to Sudaka. I want us to be very careful of that choice of word. That's number one. Number two, Albe Moekane, right?
Albe Moekane.
Hello?
Nkemwele.
Hello?
Ndol nkemwele mbe Moekane.
Albe Moekane ba?
Ha.
It works bad. Hello?
Ndol nkemwele.
Ibrahima?
Nkemwele.
Albe Moekane ba?
Yeah, internet da do ko.
Gambia internet honorable for seri mindore Gambia.
Lamen. Already na interview kala officer to the wrong. Ala Pabe
yeah, I think
abe fenkele ka fanyari gamsel.
Yeah, so interesting stuff, Ibrahima. There's not much that we can do about this.
Yeah.
Tumando bado lafta nu menna fanang ning maybe fango nga a call nung line of fanan to maybe ngo fanang try nga jibe but ni woman ke no kaya fa nyameng maybe mbe kachani lola janden se murunang kota ke wati do nga jibe natara officer do one of these days na se si nga kacha ko lamini alon ko lafta ka wala kacha
I think that makes sense because ala internet kan yota ati sabarla. But
ya ndolo be ngara ma fa wala ndolbe dumala do mandi so ni beje wato dol beje internet bu ko sone ya baake but hani bi dorom lamay lalu adol men ben ani jibe lalu albe dawada dunia kono fo gambielem fo dunia dula ko tangol to albe jibe kan albe waral be lamay kan radio do alnim Bitilo lemu Nfally Fadera ning Ibrahima Sonko adol men moy kan radio do albe moy kan Vibes FM le 106.1 FM yes so ngamira honorable be men sata kan dron wala mu comme be men fo kan ngajibe na be nyosot le honorable nse fere do men fanantano tumando bar maybe nse diamu no WhatsApp la le dron so maybe nse okay until we will put you on the line and then we can just discuss and address these issues maybe we finance sone Ibrahim malam fo ka honorable moy la ba are you able to hear him from the line?
Amanse Mosra.
Yeah. Ibuka moy.
No, amanse Mosra do. Afo ya diama bang. I continue ka diama. Faka mol mo.
Honorable Tenteng.
Okay, saya moy kan.
Okay. So ni se Tenteng no Ibrahim ila nyin karom mendi ni sa sing kan no ay do saje.
Yeah, it's need to continue on the wrong kafu mole ko
nga understand so left men na wrong ko Ibrahim nyin karo ko moment join to Talib Bensouda. People form this together with Talib. I want us to avoid this scenario or this dangerous political statement of Carla Patio, Carla Kang. When Talib we all integrate our brain cells and ideas, then you movement of form. to salvage Gambia. So I don't like this statement of for Talib Bensouda, because this is the biggest political mistake politicians when they come together to form political parties. They can more as demigod, they can as the most significant person in the association. So that becomes a problem. So we have to avoid that. So to answer your question, Ibrahim, I want us to avoid saying those kind of statements. So until more about UDP, aside for what is very emotional, it's very sad and it's very, very unfortunate. But mantra UDP pour que mo ke president by force, mbe UDP pour que Gambia bondi. So if somebody is given 5 times unsuccessful, so we have potentials among us, either elderly or young persons. We should see among ourselves after giving one person 5 consecutive times or resulted to failure. So my mission in the party, in the political philosophy, in the political dynamic, wala muko ngabanko bondi. But in the political jako nga political party lole put nga moke presidenti by force on and on and on. No of killing fula saba nani lulu for war. We still want to try chance with the same person. And I'm not for a resignation letter very clear. I have no policy difference with UDP. I have no program of policy difference with UDP. The only fundamental difference I have with the party is the choice of their flag bearer, which I believe is risk and failure at plain sight. I cannot grab it. Who does that? I cannot grab risk and failure at plain sight. So this is my only problem. And I said in my resignation as well, I will continue to vote and consult with UDP caucus in the National Assembly with all matters regarding the state. I will continue doing that. Before voting happens, I'll call Alaji Darboe, minority leader, caucus may vote Kalamindolo, which pattern, but before that I'm going to advise myself. Is it proper or wrong? But I can tell you, I will never betray UDP National Assembly members in the assembly. I will continue to vote with them. I will continue to coordinate with them. I'll continue to consult them on matters regarding the state. But my only problem with the party is the choice of their flag bearer, which in my opinion, this is my opinion, Ibrahim Nfally, that he will not be able to win election under the circumstance. And no man dum party kono, man alpha dum party kono, imantra party kono, purka mo killing the president of the party kono. Yenila tako, minto dingal fala ye ulule, neke bara, yeke fendi party kono, yeke fendi Gambia. This is the reason alpha dum party kono menna. So fundaketa party kono National Assembly member. When the party was formed, I was just 12 years old. So I funded at 42, going to 43 years old. So the same flag bearer, the same unsuccessful result. So change side. So based on that philosophy, I leave the party. But I have no difference with the party, to be honest with you.
But Honorable Ibrahim, but just quickly follow up on that. So what do you say to Mol Menuko? Ninko democracy, Nkoleko Jamala Kang. Say, Ninga UDP ko democracy. Ninga atra ita fana lata democracy la ni UDP jama dingol ko lafta la usenu dabole nyatunka ita la problem o muneti with that because altata ale flag yara sip election okele ye findira party dingol kang and all of that what is the problem with that ninga atra party jama dingol lafta
it's not even democratic for in my opinion for one person to present himself to lead the party six consecutive times.
But Allah constitution so that's
the no, you see, sometimes, we have moral obligations, sometimes we have legal obligations. More than you understand. And the same people after 10 years. And they fail to understand Baro has no legal obligation, it's just moral obligation. You understand? So at one point, if you ask me, if legal obligation and moral obligations, they come before an individual, I'll go for moral. Yeah, I'll go for my moral obligation, not my legal obligation. So for me, for party leader to present himself 6 consecutive times to lead the party is, in itself, in my opinion, undemocratic. I cannot accept it. So that is my only difference.
Okay.
That is exactly my only difference. And as I said, I will repeat, I have no individual difference, no personal grudge, no jealousy with any UDP policy or program or individuals. All the choice of their flag bearer is what is my fundamental issue, please.
Menteng, To add to that too,
Yes.
la follow na fananko ila argument that or later la miralo kafoko UDP la nyaton katomo signalu among gagné you fundamentally you differ from that it continue no wala right but ngalo na fananko in the alla movement no atol mi ya lo min wala nyaton ko science thing isonda way man so Talib Ahmed Bensouda long what and wo fana ngalo no ko ala famina man se long what wo fana la famina man se what. So wouldn't that in fact contradict even if kan ka foko nyaton kaya nga pati lole ni mo kilo pour wato wolbe kon ne la ka continue no ni no min fana dol fami laro kan wo fana de alubula ka wono wo fana la fa man se so how do you reconcile those two because
you are still going back to the same dangerous political statement momentra la kam mo kan jang mo la kafuta nyokan jang. Yes, if you ask me, the highly likely leader of the movement is going to be Talib Ahmed Bensouda. Highly likely.
It's Talib Bensouda.
Molse flag bearer, in the movement. And let me also tell you one thing. Our constitution probably is going to be in such a way that if you contest 2 times, you are not coming back again. Because we want to learn what we did initially is to learn the mistakes, the fundamental mistake of all the political parties. Don't believe in the constitution that we did it in such a way that we look at the mistakes, fundamental mistake of most of the political parties in the country, and repeat la correct. So I can tell you in confidence core, Unite Movement for Change. They make a flag we are at 2 consecutive times. It you are going to contest that time. And na flag bearer, na secretary general, na head of the party, this will be very different. This will be very different individual because if you input all this title on one individual, you are making him so powerful and so influential in the party that he or she can even manipulate any process in the party. Because the party is built around him. So we want to make sure that these 3 distinct titles are so separated by way of functions and who is going to perform that function. We are going to be very, very careful of that as far as our constitution is concerned. So Unite Movement for Change, I'm telling you, Nfally and Ibrahim, is going to be a different political organization in this country that's going to attract any young leader or any elderly or young leader who has political ambition. You want to progress with your political ambition, you likely join the movement. Because look at UDP. How many young leaders had their leadership potential dim for 30 years? Ministers, permanent secretaries, directors, president. How many presidents we could have produced in these last 30 years? How many presidents? So it's like most UDP young leaders had their leadership potential dim for 30 consecutive years without progress. So we want to avoid that. You lead us 2 consecutive, you don't win election, don't even think of coming. Because somebody is going to lead different from you.
Okay.
Flag bearer, head of the party, president, chairman, these are going to be different individuals. So that we are not going to give any individual an opportunity to be so influential in the party to manipulate any process you want in the party. We're going to allow that, please.
Okay, just to follow up on Ibrahim Memfokang, because mol men yalon ko mantra alni mantra quickly kamem fa alma wole muko atolu alulo drum pour ka Talib ke president wati because ning kumo ikanyi membevo alsa be tamandi no le UDP kono comme ñu waliyol men kake Jamal Saje ko ñimu waliyol le men yalon ko e manke kukura de politiko kono dolu ko ninga tara nun Talib keo ka Talib ke president ti ñu wonten nun den dungal dammal se sino ala ñun ko kata aliya tamal baji alaji ba ban na nyame bari yemenje wole muko al mam bondi UDP kono dalili kan mem manke ka Talib ke president. What do you have to say to that?
No. You see, me and Long, you will know I don't operate like that. Instead of operator like that. And movement, we the founding fathers of this movement. There is nobody among us whose philosophy of processing things and ideas is as how you are telling me. I tell you. You understand? I said revolution is always a thought in one man's mind. Then it goes to others and you come together and do it. That is very true. In the mind of Talib, that I cannot disagree to that. But Talib, Talib will not claim ownership of the movement because Talib, if you know Talib, you know that he's a very democratic person. Talib is democratic respect back. He's not that kind of a leader
that will come and impose him. In fact, I've called for several times. There are certain things found. Ninga for Talib no honorable. If that happened, it's like billah wallah tallah. He told me that several times. It's like I'm imposing myself on people. He told me this several times. Let's do A, B, and C. I have no honorable. That's not right. If you do that, it will be seen as I'm imposing myself on people. He told me this several times. I swear to God. So he's not that kind of a leader that will impose himself on people like a leader by force. Trust me.
Okay.
So it's their right to say so, but for me to answer that question, Oman exists in United Movement. It's not there.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to make anybody president by force, whether people like it or not. We don't do that. So we learn from our mistake, and we learn from the mistake of many political organizations in this country.
So sa mbe mena just a kukili ngolendorong mune atinda atole nying sikol men besoto kolto men be keka UDP kono la dabola koto and everything muna atinda almansi alia kota alia kele patio kono rather than kafinde because mandingol kamem fo wolemu e ko suwo dinkendo ka fole bi jambe dulale abuka foko bi jambe suwo telale. So what do you have to say to that? Why didn't you guys stay and fight on sako Talib fo anatol be muna atinda na le kole akusur yal mantu alia ko kele but alia je ko mem mbeni kele no la nya wolen ka patio bula basically pour ka patio nyinte.
Nfally, more understand about us. Ntoni UDP, I think we are still very different because we still have a common denominator, that's a barrow. You understand?
But then why leave then? If that is the case, then why leave?
Exactly. With UDP, we may not be able to achieve that ambition of removing Barrow. And let me tell you one thing in this country. Gambians are not going to vote for Barrow, but they will not equally vote for Lawyer Hussein Darboe. So UDP will be very irrelevant in 2026 presidential election. Barrow will go certainly, but UDP as political organization under Hussein Darboe is also going to be very irrelevant.
But because UDP right now, as it stands, is the biggest opposition party. They have National Assembly members. They have a very solid structure. Banko Karobela, diaspora kono, ikakodoso de kela kolke. So nito ko UDP kela an irrelevant political force. You
see, polls are there to show who is the leading political party in this country. Or let me tell you one thing, Nfally. The most popular politician in this country right now is Talib Bensouda. I'm not saying that he's going to win the presidential election. Whether we will be able to convert that popularity to vote to make Talib president of this country, that's another thing. But I can tell you, if you count all the politicians in this country, the most popular politician in this country right now is Talib Bensouda.
But Talib mu KMC mayor damal.
Yes, Talib is a household name in this country. Maybe you have not been in this country for a very long time, but I can tell you, Talib right now, and I insist, is the most popular politician in this country. So the task of the movement is to convert that popularity to vote. And let me tell you one thing. NPP, if you chat with NPP politicians, what about UDP find as winning party now? I chat with quite a lot of NPP politicians. What their problem now is Talib. In fact, some will even tell me, election of Bentona where we are going to mbal denele with 5%. And the president said the same thing to people in Canada. So UDP now, I think they are fighting for survival than victory now. They know victory from there.
But
so now it's fight for survival than victory.
To follow this point, I think because anyway, nga community to German siya ko but yeah, me fola fananko wala mnindiko. Ite UDP londe, ita UDP kono ya lonko UDP parti mi ya lonko ya bata da Jamal Taki oman kukela. Ila mol father jane ye election Jamal lose jami ya lonko man kukela. So UDP ka foko ngalone ko ila base for the movement in terms of grassroots. Atol mo sort of follow. Talib sa popular no as a cross-cultural appeal sort of no nyao nya science and thing. Man Talib follow. But the motor so mbe nyinga no la pe nyinga minna wala mnyindiko. Atol la jiko Nfally nyinga minna abe semberi muneto. Science and thing. What them love for na ba kuma atol ya mira.
Ni mo ka fogo with all due respect Ibrahim ni mo ka fogo kubuka ke UDP la. Look at the UDP. Let's go back to history. UDP in the first attempt was 35%. That percentage came at one point, it came down up to 17%. You understand what I'm talking about? So it means in the first attempt, you have 34%. You can never build or consolidate on that 34%. More than a cubic meter. And you are coming down all the time. Now, 2017, UDP had 31 National Assembly members. You understand? Next election, we have only 15. You have eight, how do I call it, chairman. You have 4 now.
No, but UDP still remains the most powerful political party, opposition. Maybe it can mean for about UDP la sembola, womu Gambia political opposition party be problem already. But in when
you came down from 34 up to 17%, you came down from 31 National Assembly to 15, you came down from 8 mayors to 4. You see, I want that narration to go. That doesn't exist. You understand what I'm talking about?
What could be a Gambian opposition problem, not necessarily a UDP problem. But wobe kola ni opposition olu jibe UDP ni opposition party kotengol team. They always remain the most powerful. Ibrahim Mabo wole fokang. But anin kole yaka lekang, bari abuke jita. Do you see that view?
All of that. Yeah, we have to go. Intola alfalma ni patielo. Put you to opposition yala. Yeah, you have to understand Nfally. We want to form government and change the country. So you cannot just say we remain the dominant opposition party for 30 years without sight of going to State House. This doesn't give me sense. What state party to go to state and change this country? Not to be very proud of being an opposition party. Why are you so proud of being opposition?
But you want power.
But we cannot go to State House. I don't want to talk about that. I want us to win election and go to State House and change the country. Because we formed this party, Nfally Fadera in particular, 1996, to win election and go to State House. Not to be very proud to be opposition for the rest of our lives. That's not the case for me. I don't want us to clash anybody for that. That's unfortunate. We didn't want to what are the State House? We had an opportunity, but what was our success? We were not able to manage our success. I said, that's okay. We have an opportunity now with Talib. We don't want to manage our opportunity. So it's like UDP is a political organization, not very good at managing success and opportunities. That is why we are not going to State House.
Ndenge nyininka ngamrantala nyininka labon bakela nyindi. Ite amira Talib munesoto in terms of quality. Usenu dawo maminsoto. Why would ite munane?
You see, I don't want to do individual comparison between Talib and Ousainou Darboe. I don't want to compare these two individuals. With all due respect, Ousainou Darboe is our father figure. Ousainou Darboe raised all of us. Ousainou Darboe mentor all of us. But we have reached at a stage that we are more electable than him. Do you understand? No, you see, let me tell you one thing, and I want to call a very high profile figure in the party, which I will not name. You are a lawyer. I am a lawyer. Borturo is a lawyer. If you go to the court today, we have a case. You are going to do the case on our behalf. So this project, we are all part of this project presentation. We all wrote this project together. But now it's time for project presentation. We say, oh, Talib is the best talker. Talib and Diamond Mbete. That doesn't mean that Talib owns this project. And I told that one person in the party. So this is like that. We all contributed to writing this project, but it's now time for a project presentation. This is like that. So right now I can tell you, Talib is more popular. Talib will have more votes than Ousainou Darboe in 2026 presidential election. But I cannot compare qualities of Ousainou to Talib. I will not do that. But one thing I know, Gambians will vote for Talib to Ousainou.
Okay. Honorable, so what do you also, just quickly, what do you also have to say to people, Menko? You know, ale nyimbe fole ha yenyimbe fole particular challenges lem kolea kulem and all of that. What stopped you from supporting whoever party momo tambindi falingo nyanta kela waseke after munatinal mo keno falia filko the best way to go about it is to just leave and start your new political enterprise.
When different applicants submitted their applications, I told my chairman of Fajikunda, Morjab, now that Moliel application will submit, the only candidate Malamina to win is a party leader. But we may have change of mind if we choose another candidate. Let's rally around that candidate to know GB for Falambe Vinol. Because my only problem is a party that has more than 200,000 supporters, potential more than 50,000 potential leaders. Only one person is leading that party for 6 times. Maybe first time maybe we can come together and see whether we can rally around that person more for before the window. Because I believe is democracy, not believe in new person to lead UDP. Do you understand? So, the fundamental difference with the party is the choice of the flag bearer. I will keep repeating that. Probably, to answer your question, near more dollar fund different from the party leader. We can see how do we say that to Gambians? Because we've been selling one person for 5 times. Gambians, they don't vote for him. I don't know the reasons. So now, if we have a new face now, maybe Gambians can have change of mind.
So, Ninkumu, anybody but La Darboe, it'll mirror.
After 5 times. That's my only problem.
Nka wole ko Ninkumu Mosa Foko, it'll mirror anybody but La Darboe. Momo nata better La Darboe kola.
That is correct. To give a new person, to give a new face, a new direction, and see whether Gambians are going to vote for that person as a member of the party.
Okay, so we muna sota be men fola mole men ko alla ko be albe kolu nyamoto sambakan atolu UMC alman grassroots foundation soto hani bi mo jamal fonko fang patiola messaging man clear, nobody knows albe lori menkang because ninko movement o alman political party from form follow carte feo is jari sango and ninko movement of fanang movement o kalo kule kan movement ol beje dol beje there are movements about fight for corruption, dol beje is about patriotism, dol beje is about let's say ngamen soto nun during the post-independence era, fight for independence, but nobody seemed to know at all a movement or allota munekang, other than the fact that Talib wants to be president. So what do you say to people menko albe kolu nyamoto kekande?
Talib don't want to be president by force. Talib want this country to change by force for a better Gambia. I can tell you that for sure. He among ambitions to be president of this country by force. But one aim I also that's supposed to all our aims is like I feel like Nyumbanko fali. I feel like Nyumbanko nyatatasho. So men they don't understand the name of the party in Dolota Menka. How many times came up with our spokesperson, the first official appointee of our movement? We go to the media and tell people we are united movement for change, united for integrity, equality, and transformation. How many times did he tell the Gambian people? How many times? So what I'm for again? Our spokesperson several times went to different radio stations, television stations, online interviews. He said our movement will transform into a political organization. But right now we are United Movement for Change, united for equality, transformation, and integrity. That summarizes everything. I think when you understand that, understand that.
But what about the coming for ko albe ko nyamoro kekane in the sense that Talib alman grassroots based sort of follow, like
let me tell you about. We said we are movement, and we are right now doing our constitutions and every other. And let me shock you. The most organized political organization, a seemingly organized political organization right now is Omuntolet. For grassroots. People don't know the United Movement for Change. Everybody in the United Movement for Change, you are either a coordinator or a mobilizer right now. Even myself, I am doing registration. Talib Ahmed Bensouda himself has formed which he's administering registrations. Do you understand? So we are all over the country. There is no constituency in this country where United Movement don't have mobilization and coordinators embarking on registration.
No, but yeah, when you karo sembe da
There is
menna, atolu men be bota UDP kono, mostly nga menje, asembe ma karo be dikirin KMC la kono. So, dinko andu Gambia warata KMC tile. Wala molla jahal kuri.
No, this movement, Nfally, is more than KMC. More member of KMC. In fact, if you look at Northbank, those who resign from UDP in Northbank only function at KMC. I can tell you that for sure. You understand? You go to all other countries, all other constituencies, regions, etc., etc.
But UDP la Northbank, UDP la Northbank leadership be ko be double koma. Ngela press release tele. Wala na. But anyway, honorable, I want us to move because man time jama soro right now. And wadalilo kamba lafta nga menjibe katabake wole mu nying carte final ati memu 2020-60. I don't know alla plan mu muneti. Do you plan to contest for the presidency? Ni wole mu, are you not worried about the time? You know, almampati yo fangolondi follow kate feo felendinga duntan koto. Do you think atolu alning whoever may be the nyatonko mo jamal jigita ko Talib amel Bensouda lembari ko hanibi alman nyatonko sort of follow, but whoever Yahya Menteng bindi, do you believe that you guys have what it takes to win the presidency in Gambia 2026?
To answer your question, we are going to contest 2026 presidential election. We're going to contest that, and nothing absolutely is going to stop us contesting 2026 presidential election. And if you ask me again, our chances of winning 2026 presidential election is higher than all the political parties in this country.
Why?
Yes, because the movement is very organized. The movement, Gambians are waiting for a political organization.
But you can say that about all the political parties, Kebama. You can say that about GDC. You can say that about UDP. Especially UDP, GDC in Doyol. These are all political party milan ko yesulo dun Gambia le. Yesulo dun Gambia fana e bandala. So what is different about UMC?
When I say organized, I'm not referring to who is deep rooted. It's way more than that. It's not more. It's not a party that is deep rooted. No. You see, let me tell you one thing. Mola minds. Election is about Mola Miro Benyadile Bankokang. How are people yearning for change at the particular time?
Okay.
This is what is happening now. At the beginning, Gambians want change. They are not going to vote for Barrow, but they are not equally going to vote for Darboe.
Okay.
I can tell you that for sure. But right now, Gambians want change.
Okay. Ngalo ne karte feo binakang andu mo jamal be jikiri menna wala muko opposition party killing damata atama no laka president Adam Barrow la mansa kunda boindi Allah party leader I interview soto kunu Allah Talib Bensouda interview soto kunu nga jibe afole ko al paredele pour al moko ngole so nyokan ni bari you know abebe tala nim bunya ni hormol ka ni silo nyomo ni kambego but la fake nyinin ka menna you know Allah party so nyokan hamolu konale men soto ani miro men babulu. Is there any circumstance where UMC in APRC se kafuno nyoma APRC la noto coalition faction member ya Jammeh koma? Do you see that happening, coming together to form a coalition to unseat Barrow? Because Jammeh is still popular. Albesula la foyni ko lele APRC dingol lele men ya lon ko sembo warta foyni kono anin bla ko dongolto. Do you see that happening?
Well, one thing I can tell you in politics, there is coalition, there is collection. You understand what I'm talking about?
Alning ya Jammeh la APRC be coalition o kelalaba. Ninga atara
I am not sure about this. I cannot speak to you about that. If anything, the spokesperson will be able to translate, will be able to tell that to the media.
But why not?
I'm speaking.
Okay.
You asked a question.
Okay.
Even one of the founding fathers of the movement, but I cannot tell you right now which party are we going to collate with, which party are we going to collect with. You understand? One thing I know, we want to have collation or collection with every Gambian.
No, but me is because iya fole ko atolu movement on LD ale principle sotere al laftale pour Gambia politico se falling aning kujama falinje so lafa kalon based on alla principles ali mensoro aning values base ya fole fanko itele bo safaro kuna patio to alaje so lafa kalon do you think based on nga mem belong about President Koto Jammeh ani APRC patio la maralo kono Gambe banko kam ye mo falu mo yemandolu menike Jammeh na manam bolo se roke hani bi molbe silaring ye menu tajirinte ay tilimbalia nga Mohammed Sanden soto jam ay mem fom bele ya moy based on all of that based on ye kol mem belong kene bato kullodo ite mo dibite wolde tumando bato ka fengo dolu kalamuta dolu buko kalamuta do you think an APRC ya jembela faction ay men nyaton kaya do you think anybody for that matter should go into coalition with them? Number one. Number two, particularly Allah UMC, Talib Ahmed Bensouda, aning Yahya Menteng Nyole Menyatung Kaya. Would you consider aling APRC kafunyoma?
You are telling Ibn Sambakang the same problems political party lemeng established in this country. Formaje Iba Fokanyako, Yahya Jammeh APRC. I don't think Yahya Jammeh owns APRC.
No, but he does. Kebama, wokai mum. Iba Fulako, Afoko, Atola, Afolako.
Yahya Jammeh was a leader.
Okay. Sai nkana nyosa ba APRC la nyaton kaya. Les niaje nkumata ko Yahya Jammeh la APRC, memem fokan drong wala mukaita ndiko di APRC faction membe Yahya Jammeh la Karola. Nkana nyosa ba Karola sai. Laftal do yen jabi. It atolla UMC itenin Talib Ahmed Bensouda ni moko tongole men nyatum kaya would you consider aling APRC the faction member ya jembela Karola pour aller sonyoka
I told you na approach to coalition building when that comes the spokesperson will tell Gambians how are we going to go about coalition building, but at my capacity right now I cannot talk about our approach to coalition building because among any policy or any formula that are with regards to coalition building. But when the time comes, the spokesperson will reach out to media and tell the media how do we want to go about our coalition building. I can tell you that for sure, okay? But right now, I don't want to say anything. That is very, very, very premature.
Okay, Kebama, we will move on. But in the ko APRC la ko belari nyaming ngamira wo senata mo belema and then ka long for inning APRC be sola nyokam falta sunyo ko ndenga mira wo mukule di mealon ko molo nyaawo amanya naka kolea bari coming nga move on nga jibe ke kibar la membe dending president Koto Jammeh la kola nga jele ko koteke ay audio fintindile ka pipiro ke ko abe pare kanne pour ka murunang Gambia banko kam la fa ke nyini nga amena honorable malum febe moy kanne ba hello mbari olu nimmembe kacakan wala mu honorable Yahya Menteng Sanyang aketa moti me alon ko député wala mati a telebe siring la trikunda sabiji toyala député bungoto na telebe kacakan ku jamalla men be dending ala balu wala politiko kono be jibelo fanan kekan ala tarola ani UDP talani wali men dunte tema anum silambe men karo jibe ka wala mu jari carte fawti UMC be lola way nyame be pare ka kamba nyame lafta dorong jannin kajabe kumfala ka nyininka aytolu lafa ka nyininka no president Koto Jammeh na ko lanu bara kam to ko layno nyin jolontale mba katale ka jibe fomba soto no lale ni nga soto layno to se wo nyininka ro ke nga ko nyinta nga kumfa bari hani bi doron ka fale ko atom bella moy kam radio to Gambia banko kan album moy kam Vibes FM le 106.1 ani atul men faram ben jibe kan alben je kan Faida 1 FM le mbadi ngolu Gambia interneto batani kolea mbawla soto kan je santeng bari hani bi dorong ngamiran be menkela be kibaro nyin kum fara janne tumando baton se yaya soto no line auto nsa kata ngajibe mba soto no la nyamin tumando bato na atara banjul ala office kono tumando baton jikita ko internet se soniano woto bari ya ngamel be kum faro kala ko la jande ngal be jeyi ngal tentu alla mo kunyi makam alla al badi malum Nfally Fadera ading Ibrahima Sonko ngamen soto ni jabole mu Yahya Menteng Sanyang ala baraka